Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you are watching this session of Boost HR and IT Services with the Employee Self-Service Agent at Build 2025. We're so excited to have you with us here today. My name is Lucy Hitz. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager for the Employee Self-Service Agent, and I'm joined here by Prerna, our GM of HR Digital Strategy and Innovation, and Swati, our Principal Product Manager on the Employee Self-Service Agent. Thank you both for being with us here today.
It's a pleasure to be here, Lucy. Thank you.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm super happy to be here.
We also will have, in a little bit, after quite a packed agenda, a wonderful panel for you, with Prerna moderating between Laila, VP of Product Management at Workday, Adam Mason, Chief of Strategy at Benefax, and Dave Warren, HR Digital Portfolio Manager for Chevron, one of the Employee Self-Service Agent's greatest champions and early private preview customers. So a lot to learn there, and really excited to hear from our panelists. Before we get there, I'm going to give you a quick overview of what the Employee Self-Service Agent is. I will show you the agent in action with a demo from both the employee's experience of the product, as well as the admin's experience of the product. And then I will pass it over to Prerna to walk us through Microsoft's own journey with the Employee Self-Service Agent and AI and HR, just how we're thinking about that and deploying that across the organization. In addition to, of course, the IT delivery piece of that puzzle, which is vital, we know, as we bring this all together in the era of AI. So then we'll have our panel, as I mentioned, and we'll close out with Swati really talking about, our product roadmap, what to expect, what you can do now as you wait for the Employee Self-Service Agent to be generally available in June, and just next steps to take as the audience member. So at Ignite, you may remember we introduced the Employee Self-Service Agent, a new set of capabilities to answer policy-related questions and simplify HR and IT-related tasks for faster resolution, helping to improve the employee experience. And this value really falls into three key categories. The first is retrieving information. So retrieving the right information at the right time with user context. So think of this not just as a dump of all of the policies in your organization, but really specific to geography, role type, hire date, all of those pieces of information that go into providing the right response to an employee and making sure those responses are accurate and personalized. And we know employees don't just want to usually learn information, they also want to take action on essential HR and IT tasks, but especially across the enterprise, that can be pretty challenging with multiple workspaces and tools, not knowing where to go, and having to navigate that labyrinthine system. So with the Employee Self-Service Agent, you don't have to do that anymore. Your employee can take action in the same frame that they're getting their knowledge and all that policy information they need to know. And then finally, this third layer of value is really for the admin. And this is for your HR admin, your IT admin, your facilities admin, all the support teams that really rally behind giving employees the information they need for their services questions. The Employee Self-Service Agent, while experienced in Microsoft 365 Copilot and Copilot Chat, is totally customizable and configurable by the admin in Copilot Studio, which is our low-code, no-code platform. I'm going to go a little deeper into some of the specific pieces of value here before I then talk through a few scenarios where in the employee lifecycle, we really see the agent being able to provide a ton of value. I think it's pretty illustrative. And then I'll go into a demo and hopefully bring this to life for you as well. So, what's the impact to employees and to admins who are setting this up and really want to be able to, provide better responses, reduce ticketing, hit all of that, for the employees that they that they service. So the first is being able to deliver trustworthy responses. And there are a few ways that the employee self-service agent does this. So I mentioned we provide personalized responses, combine your graph and your HR and IT system data. And as employees start to get really reliable answers to the questions that matter to them around very personal issues, we're building that trust. And then the second piece here is official answers and sources. And you'll see this come to life a bit in the demo. You'll see the employee is going to start seeing that gray check mark that says official source, official answer, so that they always know the response they're receiving is accurate, they can trust it, and that is, of course, totally configurable by the admin in Copilot Studio. And then finally, organizational disclaimers. So we want to make sure that employees understand that while the information they're receiving is, configured and okayed by their services teams, that they also understand and that your compliance teams feel comfortable with the limitations, right? And with where you want employees to turn to if they have a question about the responses they're receiving. And so that's those customizable, fully tailored organizational disclaimers, which you can light up for your organization. The second core piece here is integrating with existing systems. So we know there's sort of two key components that we hear over and over with customers that we're building into the product. And the first is in-frame access to Workday, ServiceNow, SAP SuccessFactors, knowledge updating, and ticketing. So we're going to integrate with the systems you already know, love, use, where your information is kept, where updates take place, and we're just going to bring that in to the experience in a way that emphasizes interoperability, and our panelists will touch on this quite a bit later. And then the second piece here is in this multi-agent landscape that we're entering in, this agentic landscape. We know there are some agents that are just best suited for us to hand off to, and in a way that really is seamless for the employee, but where the employee can then get a really deep, complex scenario completed quickly and with all the necessary parts needed. So we will provide a contextualized handoff to Now Assist, to Workday Agent, and more to come as we continue to work with our partners. And as we think about accelerating time to value for the admin teams who are going to light this up for their organizations, you're going to see a few pieces that really matter here. The first is built-in self-help for Microsoft products and services. The second is this workflow library for common HR and IT scenarios that is really going to help you get up and running faster as opposed to having build these workflows from scratch. And the third is sensitive topic handling, which is one of those key workflow components that we've heard again and again from customers. So what this means is that we know that we want AI to take some of the effort off our hands. We want Copilot to do a little work for us so we're not having to manually curate Q&As anymore. But we also know we want some guardrails. We want the flexibility, but we also want those guardrails to make sure that we have control, that we are in the driver's seat over our employees' experience. So for sensitive topics that employees may have, which you may not want, a SharePoint article or a, LLM response to come to, we're going to allow you in Copilot Studio to fine-tune those responses, the triggers that are going to trigger that response, and to be able to direct to a live chat or direct to send an email to an HR representative, or really any next step you would want the employee to take. We're going to make sure that you have that control and that power over the experience. As I mentioned, the employee self-service agent will be available in Microsoft 365 Copilot to licensed Copilot users, and in Copilot Chat for non-licensed users as well on a consumption billing basis, so that you'll be able to really provide a seamless and cross-org experience for every employee when it comes to their IT and HR services. So we think of the employee self-service agent in Copilot as sort of the single starting point for HR and IT tasks and beyond as we extend into other verticals, which you'll hear from Swati a bit later, at moments that matter in the employee lifecycle. And this is for both employees, individual contributors, and managers. And you're going to see this light up, a few of these areas light up in our demo in a few ways. But I did want to highlight these kind of key moments in the life cycle where I see and I'm hearing from private preview customers that the agent can be very supportive. So the first is leave of absence and parental leave, whether that's your individual contributor finding a policy, requesting leave, getting support when on return to work, or the manager, approving requests and taking steps there. Relocation, you're going to see this light up in our demo as well. So whether that's the individual contributor finding geographic and role-specific relocation policies, or the manager completing a transfer request. And then in a reorg, you're going to see the employee self-service agent be able to provide the IC with new org structure, skills of the team, get advice from their HR intraweb. And you're going to see the manager, again, being able to transfer report, understand the skills of their new team members, prepare for a connect with a new employee. These are all really key scenarios that you can sort of use the puzzle pieces or the Lego blocks or, whatever building block metaphor you prefer to really construct the right experience for employees, no matter what their role type or region in your organization, which we know is especially important for enterprises. So with that, I'm going to stop talking about the employee self-service agent, and I'm going to show you the employee self-service agent in action. So first, from the employee point of view, we'll go through a few different scenarios with Adi, our employee in the scenario. And then we'll show you from the admin's point of view, configuring the employee self-service agent in Copilot Studio. 𝗦𝗽𝗀𝗀𝗃, that's our avatar there, so that you really understand what the employee self-service agent has to offer from both points of view. Adi Kapoor is an employee at Relic Cloud. From Microsoft 365 Copilot, he clicks into the employee self-service agent, which he knows can help him resolve any HR, IT, or even facilities issue he is having. Quick note here that Adi could also just @ the employee self-service agent in Copilot to begin the same experience. So many avenues to the same place. Adi is expecting a new baby soon and wants to know how much time he can take off. The agent tells him his start and end date for leave, including vacation days and parental leave he qualifies for, based on his hire date, role type, geographic region, all based on official sources he can rely on. The agent also provides a list of additional documentation for Adi to read up on, as configured on the back end in Copilot Studio by his organization's admin, including ServiceNow knowledge bases and SharePoint sites. But we know most employee issues don't end at knowledge retrieval. Adi asks, how do I apply for parental leave? And is given a clear list of steps to take action, or the option to request leave directly within the employee self-service agent frame. ServiceNow Now Assist enters the chat to help Adi complete his request without having to click away. Adi completes the request and submits it, which kicks off existing workflows in his organization. He receives confirmation and can come back and check on the status or revise his ticket anytime. The agent will even alert him when his request has been approved. And he can go back to Copilot to see his approved request and check on the details. After returning from leave, Adi is thinking about another big change in the employee lifecycle, considering another job opportunity within his organization. Adi is concerned about talking to his manager about it and would like some support. He asks the employee self-service agent for advice. The agent uses its fine-tuned LLM and admin-configured response in Copilot Studio to give Adi options for support, including contacting an HR representative via email, creating a ticket, and even being transferred to live chat. These options are fully customizable by the admin in Copilot Studio. Once Adi has closed the loop with his current manager, Amanda, and accepted his new role, Amanda must do the admin work of transferring Adi to a new team. She asks the employee self-service agent how. The agent gives Amanda guidance based on the official source, the manager's guide, which lives in SAP SuccessFactors. The agent also asks Amanda if she would like to submit the transfer request directly within the agent, which she does, filling out the required fields, which mirror the required fields as configured in SAP SuccessFactors. Amanda receives a confirmation and information for following up if necessary, completing the admin task without having to navigate to another system. Before Adi moves to his team, he wants to complete a peer review for one of his team members, but needs a little help. Because the Workday agent has been connected by his HR admin, Employee Self-Service asks Adi if he would like the Workday agent to help with that. The Workday agent creates a draft version of the feedback based on graph data, which he can then update and personalize, getting him over the daunting hump of delivering feedback. Adi designates respondents for his peer review, and this all happens seamlessly within the same workspace. Now Adi is wondering if he can replace his device for his new role. He turns to the employee self-service agent, which returns the official policy for device replacement and asks him if he would like to begin the process. Adi takes the employee self-service agent up on the offer, and ServiceNow Now Assist is added to the chat to help him through the process. Without having to move to another workspace, Now Assist gives Adi the option to start an order, which he does. Now Assist provides a list of eligible devices that Adi can choose from, and Adi selects the device he wants. Once Adi confirms his shipping address, Now Assist goes through the process of creating the order. Adi submits his device request, and the agent confirms his order. Later, Adi asks the employee self-service agent for the shipping status of his new device. The agent lets him know the laptop has been delivered and gives him the option to mark as received or get additional help. With new device in hand, Adi asks how Copilot can help schedule meetings across multiple time zones so he can get to know some of his soon-to-be new coworkers. With its built-in capabilities for support for Microsoft products and services, the agent gives specific instructions. But the agent's functionality doesn't stop there. Adi also needs a little help with the camera on his new device. He is given specific instructions and the option to let the agent troubleshoot for him. Adi launches the troubleshooting tool from the agent, and the tool runs diagnostics based on his query, which resolves his camera issue. Adi's tech concerns aren't over yet. He is now having trouble accessing company resources on his phone and asks the agent for help. He is given steps to resolve the issue based on his company's device management SharePoint site. After following the instructions, he still needs more assistance. The agent recommends using a live chat or creating an IT ticket. Adi chooses to create a help desk ticket via ServiceNow, and the agent pre-populates his request based on his chat history for him to submit. He can come back and check on status, update ticket, or close ticket right here in the agent anytime. Next, Adi wants to understand his healthcare benefits in his new role, which requires relocating to Portugal from the US. The agent responds based on designated official sources from Benefex, ReliCloud's benefits provider. Adi wants to know more about the benefits beyond healthcare he can expect in his new region, and the employee self-service agent provides more information while also giving Adi the option to open an HR ticket if he wants to go into greater depth with a member of the HR team. Adi wants more context from HR, so he opens a ticket connected to Dynamics 365 to learn more. He fills out the subject and description, and then he can submit it as well without ever having to leave the agent. After a successful move to Portugal with his organization, benefits, and devices all secured, Adi is now working in a new office and wants to know where the nearest cafeteria is. The employee self-service agent pulls from SharePoint and based on Adi's location, lets him know where the nearest cafe is. In addition, he can even ask if there are any vegetarian options, and the agent pulls a list of items that are on today's menu. Adi asks the agent to order him the toasted sandwich for lunch. Employee self-service agent will then create his order for him to confirm and then processes the order as well. And if that's not enough, it even provides him directions to the cafe from his office. Here we see Adi get all the HR, IT, and facilities help he needs throughout key moments in his employee lifecycle, from parental leave to a new role and relocation, ensuring a smooth, positive employee experience. Now let's go through the employee self-service agent configuration experience in Copilot Studio with 𝗦𝗲𝗀, RELA Cloud's HR admin. The agent is designed to leverage the power of AI, but always keeps admins in the driver's seat, accelerating time to value and providing the flexibility and guardrails that services teams require. We're going to look at the setup experience from the HR point of view, but an IT admin would follow a similar flow. It's important to note that HR and IT teams will have separate agent creation experiences in Copilot Studio to run their own areas of expertise while still facilitating one single starting point for employees. 𝗦𝗲 clicks on Employee Self-Service in Copilot Studio and is taken to the overview screen to begin configuration. 𝗦𝗲 selects the 6 starter prompts she wants employees to see. These are fully customizable and should be based on the top employee issues in your organization. Once done, 𝗦𝗲 moves over to the Knowledge tab to add knowledge sources. She selects SharePoint to add RELA Cloud's main HR site and time away policy repository. Copilot Studios adds the HR FAQ knowledge source, so it is available to the employee self-service agent. Once 𝗦𝗲 has added the HR FAQ site, it's time to add a filter to make sure the agent does not pull in duplicative or obsolete content. 𝗦𝗲 heads to Advanced Settings, where she can filter by any condition she wants, including date created, modified, and who the content was authored by. Next, 𝗦𝗲 clicks into the Topics tab to customize the pre-configured official sources topic workflow and add an official disclaimer. She can then test her agent by asking a related question that would trigger an official answer and the disclaimer. 𝗦𝗲 also adds a verbatim response for when the agent identifies a sensitive issue, such as readjustment after returning to work. She wants to confirm the topic flow and test the agent to make sure the employee is directed to the right experience. 𝗦𝗲 visits Settings to select how generative AI treats this workflow, whether only responding from prescribed responses, using a combination of LLM and topics, or purely Gen AI. She clicks Customize to start installing the pre-built packages for employee self-service, starting with Workday. With Workday installed, 𝗦𝗲 can then select the agent handoff topic. She tests the employee self-service handoff to Workday within the agent. Now it's time for 𝗦𝗲 to publish the app, and with just a few clicks, the agent can now be published. Once published, the overview page provides a list of the customizations 𝗦𝗲 made, including prompts, knowledge sources, and topics. In the Microsoft 365 Admin Center, the tenant admin deploys the instance of Employee Self-Service Agent, which can include as many domains as you want, HR, IT, facilities, etc., on the back end, while still maintaining a single starting point for employees in the user experience. In addition, the admin enables and provides a disclaimer statement for the agent. Heading back to Copilot Studio, admins can learn from employee feedback, understand employee engagement patterns, and tweak and customize their agent based on usage and satisfaction metrics. And Copilot is there every step of the way to improve the employee self-service agent and the employee experience. And now I am going to pass it over to Prerna to walk us through Microsoft's own journey with employee services and with the employee self-service agent. Over to you, Prerna.
Thank you, Lucy. It's really amazing to see what the possibilities of this moment are. And before I jump into employee self-service, let us go through a little bit of, what the evolution of the HR support has been, because this desire to have beautiful, simplified employee experiences, we've been on this quest for a bit now. So 2010, we were a dispersed global HR team. In 2014, we really brought this all together with our shared services team because we wanted consistent, scalable experiences that can be made available to all employees, doesn't matter which geography they were sitting in. In 2016, we lit up a SharePoint portal where we brought together all of the policy content as well as linked to the tools with the desire that employees, just in the moment when they need something, should be able to go to this property and get the answer. However, we still kept receiving 1 million tickets on an average in a year. And so in 2020, when chatbots started becoming available, we studied all of these million tickets and actually created 2,000 questions that were most frequently asked. And, instead of reading those 5-page policy documents, you could just go quickly ask that question and get that answer. However, it was limited because, it ultimately only served those 2,000 questions and not more. So when in 2023, Copilot came around, we were super excited because we saw the power of really having an LLM-based technology pointed to the HR website, which has these 16,000 policy pages, and get all the answers. However, we found out again that, the Copilot, which was treating our office and the work exchange as authoritative as well, it would give an answer which would read the HR web page, but then it would also look at my emails and things like that. And we were really not feeling comfortable as the HR team to have generic answers sort of being provided when an employee should really be getting the answer from the authoritative sources. So we started working with the team here and super excited about this employee self-service, which is, as Lucy mentioned in her chat earlier, grounded in those authoritative sources. It has highly personalized information available about me as well. So it is also, keeping in mind which geography am I sitting in, what benefits am I eligible for, and providing that answer. One other bit that I would say, about this moment is, besides the employee experiences, this is also, again, a moment where the HR advisors, our managers, our employee relations team across the board have a unique opportunity to really simplify the business processes in the back end as well. And while ESS, as we have heard from Lucy, is getting us started, I feel like the ultimate state for this particular moment is how, the intelligent AI can actually interpret what the next best action should be. And the multitudes of these agents can talk to each other and intelligently call each other and really make that experience in a very beautiful manner come to life. So, what may seem like a very simple question on, what is the status of my new hire, if it has to go talk to 10 different tools and 10 different agents, you can get in that ESS canvas itself that singular answer. So that's where our hope and vision is, and which should hopefully come true in the upcoming years as we progress along in our ESS journey. So with that vision and context in mind, let me switch gears now specifically to ESS. What are we seeing already lit up internally at Microsoft? We have this live for roughly 50,000 people already. And, the benefits and the merits that we are hearing from the employees coming to life. Just compare, contrast it to the erstwhile experience where I may have thought I will just reach out via email and send that question. What on an average happens is I send the question, the support employee or shared services employee would answer that. And then I will say, oh, yeah, but I also have this question or this part of it was not addressed. And so you end up going through those multiple interactions before which your query is really solved. And what ESS does is does that in a multi-turn manner right there. So when we studied the million or so tickets and the category of those questions would range sometimes very much straightforward as, what's the policy or how do I do this particular step, which is what we addressed in the previous slide. But a whole lot of that is also about, oh, I'm looking at this particular data element that I need. and please help me get to that. So the way it would occur is I would go to SharePoint site, and then I would know which particular tool that answer lies in, and then I will go into the tool to really find that information. With connectors like SuccessFactors and our backend Microsoft Fabric set of tools, I'm able to just ask that question on the canvas itself in ESS and get that answer right there and then. And it comes in from these authoritative sources that we've plugged into. So really getting to that reduced clicks and very quick answer is highly valuable. But then why stop there? Why just stop at really asking the questions if this canvas can also help us take action and minimize the portal and the app scroll and, what we have to do in really understanding how each of these sites work individually as well is, where the true power will shine. Now, I earlier referred to, just these 16,000 policy pages, but it does not stop there. We have 100 plus tools at Microsoft internally where each of the specialized needs are being served by a specific tool. And, what excites me about this particular moment is how we are building connectors to all of these tools. So it's not just SuccessFactors or Fabric that we are connecting with, but whether it is the benefit set of tools or talent management, time and attendance, or mobility, we have each of these partners who are working with us in the industry and really bring it to life. I'll take Serva as an example, which is our global mobility provider, and they're doing something really beautiful where, from an employee journey perspective, what ends up happening is they would come to a particular canvas, try to get the answer. If they don't get the answer, then you go to the shared services team and they end up providing the answer. Sometimes even they are like, no, this is too specialized. I will need to really call the service provider and hand you over. However, if we are bringing in all of the simplicity in that front-end canvas with the desire to reduce the tickets for our shared services team, that same would apply for a Serva team as well. And they were super excited when we first talked to them on how hundreds and thousands of tickets that they receive from the customer, if they are to be reduced, not only will they provide a very seamless experience to the employees, but then also will end up reducing their cost of providing the services as well. So you've heard about all these use cases. Everybody asks, so what has been the impact thus far? And we did a study here internally to really compare the experiences that our Ask HR virtual assistants or the chatbot was providing compared to employee self-service. And we found that the quality of responses and, the likelihood of receiving a correct response was really 25% better than that Ask HR virtual assistant. Also, because the employees were able to get the answer, there was 31% less likelihood of a support ticket being raised. So while we spoke about the HR use cases, as Lucy mentioned, this employee self-service also is enabling self-help in the IT context. We found in our study that it is 36% less likely that the IT ticket would be raised as well from the studies. I'm going to switch gears to another critical thing that we all as HR professionals have struggled with, who are particularly enabling the technology, is just how long it takes for any of these projects to be completed and the value realization. And so a challenge that our leadership gave us when we were designing this particular product was, how can you take literally matter of days and a few weeks to realize this value compared to, years and years that some of these bigger transformation projects really require. So the way we've baked this is keeping that quicker time to value action in mind. So again, going back to, the studying of our million or so tickets, we found out that, a whole lot of those were about very simple queries with regards to policy, but then a whole lot of those were also to get the support on the business process that I may be in midst of. And as you can see on the left-hand side, we have a projection where our query and the tickets that come in because of those policy questions an employee may have can be reduced significantly. And then as we think about the business process support as well, quite a lot of benefits can be received. So think about yourself in the shoes of a customer. When you receive this ESS package, you will be able to very quickly configure, point it to your centralized source of information. And it doesn't have to be one source. It can be multiple of those sources. And within a matter of 1 to 2 weeks, you could start having this capability lit up. Similarly, whether it is IT troubleshooting or network issues, you're able to get that information configured and going live for your ESS employee base very quickly. Wherein from a data retrieval perspective, it may take a little bit more time. We estimate about a month or so, because you would like to do a little bit more testing with regards to the correctness of data and data cleanliness as well that you may have to factor in. So that takes care of, the first set of tier 1 support tickets and the value you can start realizing. But down below, when it comes to the business processes, that's where you may want to take a step back and also rethink a little bit of the number of steps that are there. So if you have to do any, let's say, simplistic data changes, like you want to help the cost center change, you will have to make the connector with your HCM tools, Workday, SuccessFactors, update them a little bit with whatever your company-specific taxonomy may be, and that takes a little bit more time. But again, good news is within a matter of a couple months here, you should start seeing a whole lot of value being derived for your company and not needing to wait. One other element that we get talked about or we get asked is, what does it cost? Because when it comes to these queries, the amount of compute power that is needed would vary quite a lot as well when you're asking for a simple question compared to a more complex one. And on the right-hand side of this table, you are seeing a projected message cost as well in increments of 1 cent per message that each of these queries will cost you. So you could create a model out of this and anticipate what the payback for this would be. So I'll leave us with this, again, end state vision, stitching the picture together, because, while we've spoken about the employee journey, how does this overall support journey also matures? So imagine you're an employee, your canvas would be this Copilot, where you get the employee self-service as the single aggregating point. In the back end, in future, you may have multiple business process agents that may be created. However, again, the good news is that these individual business process agents can interact with the Copilot layer in employee self-service as well. So all that, hundreds of agents working in service of the employee do not necessarily have to be surged and reached one at a time, but employee self-service really works at that singular canvas. Now, granted that support tickets would be reduced quite a lot, but obviously they're not coming down to zero. There were several scenarios, as Lucy mentioned, that we would still want to have human in the loop on. So when that routing happens, in our case at Microsoft, what we have is Dynamics 365 CRM as our case management tool. And it is, again, very AI enabled. It will be able to identify what particular skills each of the shared services person has, who can answer what question, what's the sentiment of the employee who's asking this particular question, and whether it should be escalated very quickly, determining that particular intent. And so it reaches the shared services professional in our backend D365 system. Again, we will have Copilot lit up there as well for our shared services team, so they get the help, and then ultimately there would be agents working in the background in support of that HR support professional as well. So really that end-to-end sort of a flow for how our AI-powered HR support will work. This slide really does a beautiful job in illustrating the next-gen world of the support. With that, I'm going to switch gears and invite our panelists from the industry. Really excited to welcome our panelists here from across the industry. Dave, who's our customer, Laila and Adam as our HR tech partners as well. It's such an exciting moment right now. And Dave, why don't I start with you first? Thank you for being the first and the best partner here from Chevron. How are you thinking about overall the AI moment in the HR function at Chevron and, how you're supporting your own function as well as the employee experiences?
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me today. At Chevron, we're on a journey to try and make it easier for our employees to get answers to HR processes and information in the flow of work using Copilot. We think if we can do that, it will help our employees be more efficient at delivering on their day jobs, and it will also help the HR function be more effective in delivering service to the business.
And what initially excited you about the ESS agent and the journey your team has been on?
Well, it started with employee feedback. So we looked at our HR shared services organization, which fields close to 100,000 cases a year from our employee base. A lot of those cases are related to employees who struggle to find information across the suite of HR systems that we use. We have Workday as our HCM. We use ServiceNow for knowledge and workflows, and we have a host of other systems that our employees will interact with from time to time. And the consistent feedback was they can't find processes and information that they need to have their HR needs met. So we're excited about ESS being a potential orchestrator to help from an AI agent standpoint, address the needs of our employees. So we're in private preview right now with Microsoft on the ESS agent, trying to connect it to HR systems like Workday and ServiceNow to enable that experience for employees through Copilot.
Dave, it just fascinates me. And like on one hand, we would say all organizations are different, but when we take a step back and look at the HR functions and employee needs, just how much what you said is very much true at Microsoft. And I'm sure many other customers that we talk to would say the same thing as well. So great to hear about this early journey on the HR front. How are you thinking about other functions as well? And when it comes to employees, one other thing that I hear is, please don't make me think about what is an HR question or an IT question or a payroll question. Would you elaborate on what your vision is?
Absolutely. So HR is trying to create a template that other functions in our organization can follow. We know employees have IT issues. We know they have procurement issues. On down the line, every function has a list of use cases that they're hoping to solve for by connecting to an orchestration agent like ESS. And through Copilot, we think we can improve the experience of employees holistically across functions. But HR is taking a big first step at partnering with Microsoft and our other vendors like Workday, ServiceNow, and our benefit vendors to really prove out if orchestration is possible and bring that value to employees.
That really sounds exciting. And, when it comes to the business value, as I'm hearing you call out, really simplifying those employee experiences and making the HR function so much more efficient is just all what we're looking for. Any other benefits or value streams that you're looking for through this initiative in Chevron?
So it starts with case deflection. That's a key performance indicator for this initiative. We think if we do our job well, the use cases that we enable through Copilot, we will see a direct reduction in related HR support cases. But we also think this is going to unlock more time on tools for employees. They're going to spend less time worrying about how to have their HR needs met, hunting for processes and information, because it will be at their fingertips through Copilot. So that in itself is going to improve our operations as a business.
Thank you, Dave. Laila, I'm going to switch over to you. Thank you from our side to have been an amazing partner at Workday. This moment where we have so many agents coming to life, And every canvas that we've traditionally interacted with individual websites and applications will undergo the same sort of a change. And I know you've been hard at work in really re-envisioning how Workday delivers its experiences through agents as well. So would you want to elaborate what your vision is with the Workday agent to begin?
I would love to. Thank you for having me. I think you touched on this. The future is multi-agentic. And the key there is really all about interoperability so that the systems can speak to one another in a manner that doesn't put the burden on the user. So at Workday, we built that extensibility into our platform and out of our platform. We really believe it's the foundation for innovation. And our commitment towards that is not new. Actually, it goes back to the start of our awesome partnership with Microsoft when we released Workday for Microsoft Teams back in 2020, which has been tremendously popular with 1.5 million monthly active users and over 1,200 customers, which Dave, Chevron is one of them, a valued customer and in that top 10 users of the application. But I bring this up because it has taught us the importance of that interoperability. It has taught us what people are looking for in the flow of work and what kind of information and actions they need in that moment. So our opportunity really right now is to redefine that user experience from a traditional UI navigation experience to simply stating an intent and letting intelligent agents handle the rest. So when users want to ask a question or express an action and get results, regardless of what systems they're in, they should be able to do that. So the future is conversational and it requires connected systems to do that. So at Workday, we're delivering on that. We're building for our agent interoperability because we know agents do best when they have access to more tools and data sets. So our Workday Illuminate powered agent will be able to live inside partner ecosystems such as Copilot, as well as trusted third-party agents can come into Workday as well and operate to truly provide that connected and consistent experience regardless of where users choose to interact. So we're bringing our Workday agent into Copilot. We're so excited about that. This is going to be one of many Workday Illuminate agents that you'll start to see interoperate in partner and customer ecosystems. And with that, we're not only striving to meet users in the flow of work, but really redefining employee productivity. I think, Dave, you touched on this, right? By enabling self-service tasks and insights to be actioned in that moment. And for us today, that's in Copilot. We're in early adopters. We're super excited about that with shared customers across Microsoft and Workday, and we're targeting general availability later this year.
Thank you, Laila. And we use this construct of really bringing the interactions in the flow of work, and your Teams app, as an example, really helped users just stay where they are and then just do more. When it comes to the employee self-service agent and how we are designing it together, could you please elaborate for the customers how this handoff will occur?
Yeah. So the Workday agent being in Copilot will be able to interoperate with the employee self-service agent. So when the user prompts for something that requires more in-depth knowledge and more insights from Workday, Microsoft self-service agent will be able to hand off to the Workday agent to assist. So let's take an example. Let's say a manager is in the employee self-service agent and they're working on a performance review. This topic has been configured to know this information is really best suited for Workday to respond to. So the employee self-service agent can bring in the Workday agent to assist. We talk about handoff, but I think it's really like bringing that experience into the user. The Workday agent in this case is really well-versed in streamlining performance reviews and check-ins. So it can help the manager prepare for the check-in. It can aggregate data from Workday talent highlights. It can bring in progress on goals, feedback from peers, completed learnings, even notes stored in a one-on-one for coaching, one-on-one docs in Microsoft 365. So really providing a holistic view for employee performance. And I think, just think about that time saved for the manager, really allowing them to focus on the more important aspects, such as growth and development opportunities. And as a people leader myself, that really resonates with me. It helps ensure that I'm prepared. It helps me have meaningful conversations. And this is just one of many examples that the handoff will be able to support. Users can also ask questions on, what courses are available for me to make progress on my goals, or what actions do I have today, or even answers on like time off balance, pay, benefits. Really the possibilities are endless. The point is to get the information to the user in that moment of time and really help them save time by doing so.
Laila, you touched upon two very critical aspects, and Lucy earlier also spoke about the importance of trust that we need, right? We know when all of this journey on LLM started, everybody was worried about the hallucination it will bring about. Will the answers come in from authoritative sources or not? But right in the place within ESS, as we saw earlier in the demo, when the question is relevant to Workday shows up, right, with its logo, so the employees know it is coming from a trusted source, and you could go on to really complete that experience. So it is really, handoff may not exactly be the right term, it's just kind of in place. ESS has that Workday, picture-in-picture setup and provide that continued experience. Adam, I'm going to switch over to you. You've been an amazing partner, and really in our international benefits space, quite a lot of countries, both the enrollment process as well as hand-holding them throughout their entire year as they have needs, really accruing value out of the benefits that we provide at Microsoft. Your services and solution have been key in that. So why don't you start with giving audience a view of how you are partnering with us at Microsoft here internally and what journey we've been together on.
No, firstly, thank you so much for having me. I guess in terms of the journey with Microsoft, it's been an incredibly exciting one. So we are currently working with Microsoft in 56 countries outside of the US, spanning 96,000 employees, really with this kind of core goal of how do we bring together all aspects of reward and benefits into one place and kind of creating that truly consistent global experience. To bring that to life a little bit, so that's everything from collating kind of the benefit information that typically sits around these plans. So it could be the policy documentation, it could be the provider collateral. We're then sort of starting to house the rich source of data in terms of benefit eligibility, benefit entitlement, capturing all of who is entitled to each of those individual benefits and making sure that the choices are relevant to them as individuals. We talk a lot about this idea of audience of one. And as part of that, critically, the employees are then able to kind of manage and enroll in benefits right across the globe. So we sit on this incredible data set that captures the full span of benefits. And I guess we're also then, to your point earlier on, supporting the employee outside of the technology in terms of, typically it's our teams that would be answering benefit queries around entitlement and eligibility as well. So that's kind of an extra string to our bow when we think about that broader employee experience across benefits.
Yeah. So Adam, when you think about the connector that we are building, given Build is all about developers who like to go a little bit technically in depth of things, what could you say more about the knowledge retrieval and the action taking and how will it occur?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess our stated mission is very much about building remarkable experiences that employees love. And I think a lot of employees love things being easy. I think Laila touched upon it, this idea of meeting people, in the flows of work, making it really easy for people to be able to access that content. So given that we're really passionate about that experience, a lot of the work that we've been doing with Microsoft is thinking about how do we ensure we meet employees where they need us and at that relevant point in time, understanding that often actually employees are looking to engage with those benefits at a point of vulnerability. So potentially they've got a dependent that's suffering with ill health and they're looking to draw down on that medical plan. Sort of forcing them to move into a particular platform is a little bit of a disjointed journey when an employee is in that point of need. So a lot of the work we've been doing with Microsoft is just understanding, well, we've got this data within our platform. How might we be able to surface it through the Microsoft Copilot? And we've been doing that with a connector. And that data could really range in terms of a span of different data points. So we would be housing benefit policy documents within our tool. They are not typically the most engaging pieces of content. Typically, they span multiple hundreds of pages. Trying to allow an employee to really get to the information that's most relevant to them can be quite an onerous process. we've looked to try and solve for that within our platform. But what we're excited about with Microsoft is actually making that content accessible to Copilot so that actually it can draw out those key bits of information as part of a conversation. So when an employee is asking a question about a particular benefit that they have today, what is that detail that if a HR professional was looking to deliver that information, why not allow Copilot to deliver that same level of personalized experience? So phase one for us is really about how do we help Copilot bring together that comprehensive response in terms of what benefits do I today have, what are the kind of key elements of those individual benefits, and how do I get that information to employees right at that point of need. I think we're then excited that isn't the kind of end state. So we've done a lot of work in terms of making it seamlessly possible to move between the technologies, but as we step forward, how we might be able to then think about how employees might be able to take action within Copilot, so potentially enroll in new benefits or make new selections as we step forward. I think the key thing to acknowledge, and a lot of the work we've done with Microsoft, is acknowledging that benefits are typically quite complex and there are differing levels of risk around certain aspects of benefits. So technology isn't really the barrier. I think what we'll be working with customers really to do is understanding their risk appetite and actually what are they comfortable kind of surfacing through kind of the LLM kind of driven Copilot models. Where does it make sense for those decisions to sit in the other platform? But really making a lot of this information so much more accessible than it's perhaps been in the past. And I know when we were sort of preparing for this session, one of the things we acknowledge is the support aspect that we provide to employees is a kind of key thing of what we do as well. And so we're excited about actually what Copilot might be able to do in terms of making that experience that much better for an employee, because we're getting them to the answer quicker. We're getting them to an answer that's potentially more comprehensive. But beyond that, clearly, if we can reduce the number of tickets that actually are being raised, as Dave talked about, that again is a big win, because we're allowing employees to really self-serve in a really meaningful way. So yeah, we're really excited about the relationship and where it might go.
Yeah, Adam, and if anything, the amount of effort we all as HR teams spend creating content. And so it's not for lack of content, but it's being able to find that specific place where that answer lies, right? And that's what this moment excites me about, in taking that complexity away and really providing the answer. And then coming back to the tickets part of it, right? We within the enterprise benefit from it because lesser tickets going to our HR teams and them needing to answer the same question over and over again, right? That's one clear benefit. But then, so many times we then, when we're not able to answer that question, we hand it over to you guys as our partners, right? And so having that canvas in ESS, really providing that answer will, benefit both the enterprise as well as yourself too, with lesser tickets coming your way. So really excited about that as well. So I'm going to maybe go for a wrap-up question here. And really one of the key things here is, with so much innovation going on one hand, and at the same time, we're just barely scratching the surface on the AI front. And, one of the things we talk about quite a lot is, wouldn't it be better and easier if there were some standards, some things where the industry really came together in this particular moment, instead of all of us as thousands and thousands of customers really looking left, right, and seeing what should we do. So, Dave, let me start with you and say, if you were to have a magic wand and put your ask forth to this cohort of Microsoft product teams that are on the panel, as well as our partners with Workday and Benefax, what would your request with the industry be?
Absolutely. What I would say to our vendors is, lean in, work together to help solve problems for customers like Chevron. We know we're not the only ones out there that use Workday and ServiceNow and other vendors that are trying to bring a collective experience to employees. So I would ask our vendors with my magic wand to align around these protocols that are coming out, whether it's Model Context Protocol. ServiceNow announced one at their conference today. I know Google has a protocol. There are others out there that will help agents talk to each other to enable this orchestration vision that is going to help everyone address the needs of an employee in an effective manner.
Thank you, Dave. Laila, same question to you. What would you personally, as an employee as well as a representative of Workday, are you thinking about how we work together in the industry?
Yeah, good question. I mean, I really think about the future of co-pilots and AI in the enterprise space, and I think it's incredibly promising. Moving in towards a landscape where domain-specific agents handle specialized tasks. But when I think about that magic wand, I kind of go back to the principle of how do we remove the barriers and the burden for our customers and users? And I think, Dave, that's kind of what you're implying to here. So Microsoft talks about the challenge of users having to navigate hundreds of different applications and figuring out where people need to go to get the support they need. And at Workday, we recognize the importance of simplifying that too, and unifying the experiences, as you called out, Dave, both inside and outside Workday. So we're building the agentic capabilities and ensuring that we can connect to these third-party agents into our ecosystems too, because it has to be connected, right? Like that's the bar. That's the bar that we have to adhere to. And so when we think about that, we're really thinking about how do we provide that consistency? Users shouldn't have to get different answers or part of an answer because they're here and not there. So my magic wand is to accelerate that opportunity. But also it's really important to think about how do we do that and making it really easy to configure and connect and removing that burden on the administrators as well, who are often responsible for meeting the demands of their workforce. And so we got to simplify things for them too.
Yeah, Laila, so important. So, prior to this particular role, I've been doing digital transformation at Microsoft for a decade. And one of the pain points is, we get into these big transformation projects, but the value derivation and the long pole in the tent is just how long it takes for those projects to be executed, right? And if the integrations and connectors, everything that we're talking about thus far, we together as the companies, product companies, really build those connectors where we do 80% of the work. So the customer only has to do the 20% delta, kind of, slight taxonomy alignment and things like that. That is such a dream state to be in. And we, again, really thank you. And Adam, same question to you as well. What's the magic wand and how are you going to enable the industry in this moment?
Yeah, I think one of the interesting things is that historically platforms have been judged on the quality of that experience within the platform. Whereas as we step forward, I think much more platforms will be judged clearly on that. But I think also in addition to that, how it exists as part of a kind of wider ecosystem. So I think that's going to be the key piece of how do we all collectively continue to experiment and push the boundaries of the technology, because there's lots that we think might be possible. There's lots that perhaps we don't even know is possible. It'll only be through testing the boundaries of that connectivity of what is possible that we'll probably discover that real innovation as we step forward.
Yeah, a very important point. And Satya, our CEO, says, we've thus far needed to really learn the language of computers all this while. This is for the very first time where we can speak in our own language and, the computer understands it. And what we've been trying to do really on the SS side of the house is really bring that coherence in the user experience, as you, Adam, rightly called out, because it's not only about 100 tools that we all buy and purchase. It's the 100 ways these tools look, right? And every time you land this particular project, you are going through the change management journey and trying to say, oh, this is how the navigation works. This is where you will go step 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And really bringing that all together coherently so you could ask questions in a singular, simplified manner, get those answers is so key. Because another thing that I keep hearing from a whole lot of customers that we talk to is, I've bought these 70 tools and 100 tools in my system, but I'm not realizing the value yet. And that's not, again, for the lack of desire and effort from all the HR leaders in investing in this technology, but it's like, just in the moment when I need it, do I even know that it exists, right? And in the benefits space, Adam, we particularly feel like the amount of spend that we do compared to the utilization of these benefits is just not there. So the last bit that I will leave us with is just not only the user experiences and a singular canvas, but understanding where employees coming from, what their needs are, what their career stage and journey is, and really surfacing some of these things just in time and moment when the user is engaged, and creating this sort of a pull moment is what excites me about this moment, and how we can all maximize the value. So again, my heartfelt thanks to all of you for joining us at the panel today, and looking forward to this continued journey in delivering amazing, amazing value to our customers. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So great to hear from all our panelists and our partners in the industry. We will wrap up the session today with Swati talking about what the product roadmap is and what's coming next. Swati, over to you.
Thank you, Prerna. Hi, everyone. I am Swati. I'm the product leader working on Employee Self-Service Agent, and have been working very closely with many of our customers and partners, and that has really informed what we are landing at general availability of Employee Self-Service Agent. Now that you all have seen what Employee Self-Service Agent can do and how it shows up in real meaningful ways, let's talk about what's coming live at GA. At GA, you'll have the flexibility to enable single core vertical, be it HR or IT, based on what's most critical for your organization and employees to get started. This focused approach delivers immediate value, and it's just the beginning. We are actively building support for additional verticals so you can scale and expand Employee Self-Service Agent. But regardless of the domain that you start with, ESS brings a powerful foundation of the capabilities to transform how work gets done. Let's start with knowledge retrieval. So you'll be able to configure Employee Self-Service Agent to connect it to the trusted systems like SharePoint, ServiceNow, Workday, SuccessFactors to surface personalized and relevant answers for your employees. And ESS is not just about answering the questions. The agent takes action, whether it's updating the information, creating the tickets, and for more complex needs, as you saw in the demo, ESS hands up to the right specialized agent as configured by the admins. And we totally understand. Every organization is unique, and over time, you have evolved your own tools and the systems that works for your organization. With Copilot Studio, you can customize and extend Employee Self-Service Agent per your organization needs. Everything from the knowledge sources, workflows, tone of the messages that work for your organization. And finally, you will have visibility into what employees are asking for, how they're engaging, what's working, what are the additional things that you can configure in Employee Self-Service Agent to answer more effectively for your employees. So you're not just reacting, you're actually proactively evolving and continuously improving the experience here. In short, ESS is not just an assistant. It's your new front door for employee support that's scalable and ready to evolve with your business. At GA, we are starting with a single vertical, HR or IT, but that's just the beginning. ESS is built to scale across employee services, bringing in the same support for legal, finance, facilities, and any other functions that you have at your organization. Now, whether it's finding the right policy, submitting a facilities request, or following up on a finance approval, ESS brings it all together into one seamless experience. Think of it as your AI-powered front door for employee self-service delivery. One place to get the things done, no matter the team or the tools behind it. All right, so ESS will be generally available in Copilot Studio very soon. So what you can do now to get ready. We have put together some key resources which are linked on this slide to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how we are rolling out ESS to employees at Microsoft. You will also find step-by-step guides to help you plan ahead and prepare your team so that you are set up for success when ESS is available for you to enable successful adoption. The future of employee self-service delivery is here, and we are super excited to be on this journey with you all. Thank you so much for watching. We can't wait to see how you transform employee experiences with ESS Agent in your organization. Thank you.